You noticed him before anyone even said his name. It was your first week at this new school. Everyone was nice enough, smiling politely, offering you directions, even trying to be friends. But him, John Jungkook, he didn't even glance your way. He sat at the back of the class near the window, always looking outside. When the teacher introduced you and asked you to sit in the empty chair beside him, he didn't move, didn't even acknowledge your presence. You tried anyway. Hey, do you mind if I? Before you could finish, he stood up and walked to the front of the class. Can I change seats? He asked the teacher. Why? She frowned. I don't want to sit there. You stared, stunned. The class went awkwardly silent. The teacher, too surprised to respond, just nodded. The next day you tried again. You passed him a pen he had dropped. He didn't take it from your hand. He picked up another pen from his bag and left the one you offered lying on the floor. Another time in the corridor, your book slipped from your arms. Mia and two others helped pick them up. Jungkook walked right past. His shoe stepped on a corner of your notebook. He didn't even look down. You kept telling yourself it wasn't personal. Some people were just distant. Maybe he had social anxiety. Maybe he was rude to everyone. Until you saw him with Mia in the school courtyard, laughing. He ruffled her hair, helped her open a juice bottle, leaned over to show her something on his phone. Warmth in his eyes, smiles that raised his dimples. You weren't imagining it. He had kindness, he just reserved none of it for you. Still you tried. You offered him an extra worksheet when the teacher forgot to bring copies. You stood beside him in art class, complimented his sketch. It's amazing, you said quietly. He didn't look up. You were starting to feel pathetic. Did I do something to offend you? You finally asked one day after class. He stopped in the hallway, turned to you slowly. His eyes met yours for a split second, and that 1 second held nothing but eyes. No, you just exist. Then he walked away. You stood frozen, humiliated. Later that evening, you sat on your bed, hugging your knees to your chest. It wasn't just a crush now, it was obsession and pain. Because for some twisted reason, even through the cold glares and silence, you wanted to understand him. He wasn't cruel just to you. You remembered once after school you saw him carrying extra notebooks to the staff room for a teacher with a bad back. He didn't tell anyone, just did it. Another time, a junior trip during PE, Jungkook was the first to rush over and help him up. And yet he would rather ignore your bleeding hand than offer a bandage. What had you done? Or worse, what had your family done? You didn't get the answer until a week later. It was a Saturday night. Your father had invited an old business friend, Mr. Lee, for dinner. You sat quietly, poking at your salad while they spoke about contracts and mergers. Remember the John family, Mr. Lee said casually between bites. The ones that sued you back in the day. Your hand froze on your fork. Your dad chuckled darkly. Of course, that was messy. Shame, what happened to their daughter, bright girl? All that potential gone in seconds. You glanced up. What happened to her? Your father and Mr. Lee went quiet. Car accident, Mr. Lee said. 14 years old, paralyzed, spinal injury. Her dad blamed yours. Because he was careless, your father said sharply. We had a joint construction deal. He missed a deadline, left the site unsecured. My name was on the papers, and I took the fall. Didn't he claim you rushed the opening? He was jealous, always was. Couldn't stand my success, and he still can't. Your chest tightened. What was her name? You asked softly. Your dad exhaled. Hannah John. And just like that, the room spun. You barely managed to excuse yourself and bolt upstairs. Your fingers shook as you searched Hannah John accident. There it was, news clips, headlines, a photo of a smiling girl in a wheelchair holding her brother's hand. John Jungkook 15 vows to fight for justice for his sister after a devastating accident. Your throat closed. The boy who hated you had every reason to. Your father had fought her father in court and won. The Johns lost their home, their daughter lost her legs, and Jungkook, he lost everything. You curled up on your bed, guilt flooding every inch of your chest. The next day at school, you couldn't look at him, but you had to try. He was sitting alone in the art room during lunch. You stepped in quietly. Jungkook, he didn't look up. I found out about Hannah, you whispered. His brush stopped mid-stroke. Slowly he lifted his head. His eyes met yours, and they weren't cold this time. They were sharp, full of history. So, he asked, do you want me to clap because you figured it out? You stepped forward. I didn't know, I swear. I didn't know anything. You don't have to. Your name is enough. He stood up, walked towards you slowly. Every time I hear it in class, roll call, why and Kim, I want to scream. You stared at him, tears blurring your vision. My father didn't tell me. I had no idea what happened, and that makes it okay. His voice cracked. My sister was 14. She loved running. Track was her dream. After the accident, she couldn't walk. My dad cried himself to sleep for 2 years. My mother left. I had to become everything overnight. And your father? He stepped closer. He won a lawsuit, smiled for the cameras, and moved on. His voice dropped. I hate him. Silence, thick and choking. Do you whisper, do you hate me too? He stared at you for so long you thought he wouldn't answer, but then I tried, he whispered. I really tried to. After that confrontation in the art room, you didn't try to speak to him again. You respected the weight of his silence now. You stopped glancing his way in class, stopped offering help, stopped trying to exist anywhere near his line of sight. But he still looked. Not when you noticed. No, it was always when your back was turned, when your guard was down, when you were doing something completely ordinary, brushing eraser shavings from your desk, trying your shoelace in the corridor, helping a junior. You had cast the edge of his reflection in the window of class, watching, not judging, not glaring, just watching. You thought maybe he was trying to figure you out, maybe trying to hold on to the hatred that was slipping from his grasp. Maybe something had shifted that day in the art room when his voice cracked. A downpour hit just as school ended. You had left your umbrella at home. You waited by the entrance archway, hugging your books to your chest, drenched, sleeves sticking to your arms. Everyone had already left. Taxis, scooters, parents with umbrellas gone, except him. You didn't notice Jungkook until he walked up beside you. No words, just the soft click of his umbrella, opening and sliding to cover both of you. Your breath hissed. You stared up at him, water dripping from your lashes. His eyes were on the street, blank, unreadable. Were you here? You asked, voice trembling. You forgot your umbrella, he said. You blinked. How do you know? You always bring one, he murmured, except today. Your heart caught in your throat. He didn't move, just stood beside you, one hand gripping the umbrella handle, the other showed in his jacket pocket. Jungkook, you said softly, do you still hate me? He hesitated. I never hated you, Ryan. Silence, but I hated myself, he interrupted, for noticing you, for feeling things I didn't want to feel. You turned to him fully now, eyes wide. What did you feel? He laughed under his breath, bitter. That day you bought extra notes for everyone, including me. I wanted to say thank you. His voice grew softer. When you helped me carry the books, I watched the way your fingers were shaking. You were nervous, but you did it anyway. When you tripped during PE and didn't cry, just laughed. I wanted to help you up, but I couldn't. Your eyes swelled. Why not? Because if I helped you once, I knew I wouldn't stop. He looked at you then. I hated that you were kind, that you reminded me of the person my sister used to be. You bit your lip to hold back the sob. You remind me of what I lost, he said, and what I never let myself have. For a long moment, neither of you moved. The rain had slowed, just a mist now. His voice came quieter than ever, and I hated how much I wanted to know you. Then know me, you whispered. I'm not him. I'm not my father. I didn't break your family. His hand trembled slightly as he adjusted the umbrella. You reached out slowly and touched his breast. Please don't keep punishing yourself for falling. Let it happen. He closed his eyes and said, I already did, Ryan. And that was the moment everything changed. He walked you home that day side by side in silence, not because there was nothing to say, but because for the first time silence didn't mean hate. It meant peace, it meant maybe, it meant beginning. It happened faster than you expected. 3 days after that walk in the rain, Jungkook showed up at your house again. He didn't look nervous, he looked decided, steady. I want to talk to your father, he said at the front door. You hesitated. He's not. Please, Jungkook said softly. I won't tell. I need this. You let him in. Your father was in his study room, reviewing papers, half listening to the news. When Jungkook stepped into the room, he looked up in surprise. John Jungkook, your father said, voice clipped. Didn't expect to see you here. I came to talk, Jungkook replied calmly, not fight. Your father closed the file and leaned back in his chair. About what? About what you did to my family, to my sister. The room went cold. You stood by the doorway, watching them. Jungkook's voice didn't waver. You rushed that project. You ignored the safety report. My father begged you to delay the opening of that site by 2 days to fix the guardrail. You said no, you wanted the grand launch for media coverage, and my sister Hannah fell from that unfinished balcony. My father stiffened but didn't speak. You blamed him in court. You used your influence to twist the story. You destroyed my family's name. My dad was labeled negligent. He couldn't find work for years. My mother divorced him out of shame. And Hannah, she has never worked again. Still, your father remained silent until I know, he finally whispered. I know what I did. You and Jungkook stared. I told myself for years this was business, that the lawsuit was self-defense, but I knew I was wrong the moment I saw that girl in the hospital bed. Your father said, his voice was shaking. You had never seen him like this before, not in front of anyone. She was awake, he said. She didn't cry, she didn't scream. She just smiled at me and said, "Please tell my brother I'm okay." Jungkook's throat visibly tightened. "I don't expect forgiveness," your father said, "but I have lived with the guilt every single day." He opened the drawer and pulled out a letter already written. "This is a public statement. I'm resigning from my board positions. I'm holding a press conference tomorrow. I'll confess the truth and apologize to the John family in front of the world." "Why now?" Jungkook asked, voice rough. "Why not 10 years ago?" "Because I met your sister last week." You and Jungkook both stared. "She came to my office. I didn't recognize her at first. She was grown. She came to return a book I once gifted to the local library." Jungkook's eyes widened. "Hana came to see you. She looked at me," my father said, his voice cracking, "and she said, 'I hope you're doing well, Mr. Kim. No hate, no bitterness, just kindness.'" Tears welled in your eyes. That broke me more than her silence ever could. He whispered, "She forgave me. I didn't deserve it." Jungkook was silent, his jaw clenched, eyes wet. She asked, "If you were doing okay," her father added softly. "She said she hopes you have found peace." Jungkook blinked rapidly, trying to hide the tears. You stepped forward and took his hand. The next day, her father called a press conference. Dozens of cameras, reporters, flash bulbs. He stood at the podium and told the truth. Everything, his negligence, his cover-up, his manipulation in court. His shame. He paused when he said Hannah's name. "I hope she hears this," he said into the microphone, "and knows that the strongest person I have ever met was a girl whose life I shattered few years ago." The clip went viral, and 2 days later, Hannah John responded. She uploaded a video message, simple, sincere. "I forgive you," she said, "not because what happened was okay, but because I need peace too. Hate can't give it to me, but kindness, maybe it can." Jungkook watched the video with you, curled on couch. He didn't speak for a long time. What he did, it was barely a whisper. "She's always better than me." You touched his face gently. "She's proud of you. I know it." He leaned into your hand. "Thank you," he said, "for standing beside me, for not running when I pushed you away. I saw through it," you whispered. "Even when you hated me, your eyes said something else." Jungkook. He smiled faintly. "I didn't hate you," he said. "I hated that your smile made me feel safe. I hated that I wanted to reach for you when I knew I shouldn't." "And now," you asked. He leaned closer. "Now, I just want to be yours. Can I?" You closed the gap between you with a kiss, soft, slow, soaked in tears and forgiveness. In that moment, the past didn't disappear, but it finally loosened its grip. He wasn't the boy who hated you anymore. He was the boy who chose you in spite of everything. And you chose him right back. Thank you for watching.